I'm not gonna overthink every single thing in my life and every single decision that I make. I'm gonna go into this new year with a little more ease, with a little more faith in myself, in God, in whatever life has for me, and know that even if I make the wrong decisions, there's always an opportunity to correct them. Even if I don't have all the knowledge or I don't have all the skills that I need to bring an idea into fruition or be successful at something, I know that I can always try and I can always work towards getting better, and that the goal doesn't have to be perfection. Hey guys, it's your girl Abby, and I'm back with another video. Thank you guys for being here and tuning in to this channel where we talk about all things love and life. In today's episode or video of the week, we are going to be talking about something that has been heavy on my mind and is actually quite ironic in its topic. We are going to be talking about overthinking. I tend to be an overthinker and think about things way more than I have to. And I've noticed how that has kind of had a negative effect on just my overall mental well-being and the way that I show up in the world. And recently I was thinking about it, ironically, and I just came to a conclusion that when we second guess, it actually holds us back from so much. A lot of the times, our overthinking and our second guessing is really based in fear. Whenever my thoughts follow up with a what if, I know that that's based in fear. I know that the future is not definite. I know that the future has not played out. It takes a certain level of faith in this current moment for me to walk into the future. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like we tend to second guess everything and think that we have to have this perfect life or this perfect seamless slate where everything works out or everything is successful. And the thing that I am realizing is that that idea of having perfection and that idea of wanting to make the best decisions all the time really held me back in a lot of ways, because it's quite impossible to know and have everything figured out. The literal essence of life is figuring it out as you go. And I think sometimes when we overthink things, it can hold us back and keep us stagnant in the place of life where nothing is really changing, because we're so fearful of the possibilities that could happen. And I think it's important that we kind of shift that mindset from fear to faith. Faith is the total opposite, where it's accepting and realizing that I don't know what the future looks like, but I am walking towards what I hope it will look like. Faith and hope kind of have this resemblance in that you don't know what the future is, but you're hopeful, you're excited for the best, you're thinking positively and hoping for the best. And so I think a lot of our overthinking and our overthinking and our second guessing keeps us in that place of fear. And it's important to know that in that place of fear, it's very hard to move forward. It's very hard to make any type of move. And so even when it comes to just our thoughts, but what does my thought life look like? What does the things that I'm thinking about look like, right? Because I think that sometimes we have to be honest with ourselves and say, yeah, okay, how do I genuinely feel inside? Because I notice with myself a lot of times I can come off a certain way, but what is actually going on in my psyche is a lot of second guessing, is a lot of negativity where I'm doubting and I don't have faith and I'm not hopeful. And I think I want to go into this new year with the total opposite of that, of like, yeah, I don't know everything that's going to happen. I really don't, but I'm going to hope for the best. I'm replacing that fear with faith. I'm replacing that fear with hope, so that my thoughts and my mental well-being is a bit more positive, right? Think of all the possibilities that could happen if we change the state of our mind from this negative and fearful place to a happy and hopeful place. It's not to say that when we change our mindset, everything comes into fruition. No, but it allows the possibility to play out. With a healthy mind where we're not constantly shutting down ideas and shutting things down, we can open up the possibilities of what what could happen. And so I know that that is something I'm going to be implementing in my life and try to do, where when I hear that little voice in my head saying, well, what if that happens? And what if this happens? And it's all this fear rushing in. I am going to try my hardest to kind of just shut that down. And I think all of us could really benefit from that, where when we have those negative thoughts and when we have those fears come into our psyche, let's shut it down immediately there. Now, I think there's a certain level of healthy fear that is always important. We don't want to just be walking through life overly confident. And that's where that balance comes in, and you have to calibrate where your balance falls, where, you're not shutting every fear. Some fears are good, but I don't know if you guys are familiar with biology, but in biology, we learned about the cells. And in the cell, there is a cytoplasm, there is the mitochondria, and there's all these different components that make up one singular cell. But on the outside of a cell is its membrane, and that is what keeps the cell in its form. That is what keeps the cytoplasm, the mitochondria, all the other components of the cell in one piece. And so when we talk about a cell membrane, it's important to know that a cell membrane doesn't keep everything out and keep everything in. It's permeable. And what that means is that things can come in, nutrients can come in, compounds can come in, and other compounds can come out. But the size of that membrane, the size of the permeability of the membrane is set so that not everything can come in and not everything can come out. And I think that's how we need to set up our mindset, how we need to set up our mind where it's permeable. It's not that we need to slow everything down and know everything that is going on in our mind, but instead have a mind that is permeable, where we can take ideas, we can hold on to them, we can see if they're nutritious or not. And when I say nutritious, I don't mean it in a literal sense, but if this is something I can hold on to, is this a fear that is real? Is there a threat that I should be afraid of? Or is this something that I'm overthinking? Is this coming from a place of fear that's holding me back and keeping me stagnant? With a membrane that is permeable, with a mind that is permeable, that can take information and remove information, we can set up that balance where we're not totally consumed with our negative thoughts. We're not totally consumed with our fears. Because the thing about negative thoughts is that some of them are lies. Not every thought you have, just because you think it, doesn't mean it's real. Some of our thoughts are blatant lies, and it's up to us to filter those lies out. It's up to us to know what we can keep and what's beneficial and what we need to throw out and keep out. And so like the cell membrane, let's be permeable. I made a video on Instagram talking about this, and a lot of people were asking me what I meant with what I said. I said something along the lines of, I'm afraid to heal because I'm afraid of putting on when I should be taking off. And I think a lot of people didn't fully understand what I was saying with that. And what I really meant is, when it comes to a healing journey, or when you are kind of working on yourself or self-improvement, I was just putting on more baggage that looked good. And I think a good example of that is pride. Sometimes we're in a state of healing, but we kind of get warped up in this idea of pride where we think a little too highly of ourselves. We think that we have it all figured out. We think that we're going in the right direction because things around our life look good. And so that pride propels you even further down that path, not even realizing that there's so many different areas of your life that aren't even stable, you aren't even living right in a whole bunch of different areas of your life, but that pride kind of blinds you. And so what I meant by that line is, I'm afraid to heal because I'm afraid of putting on when I should be taking off. I don't want to put on to cover what I should be actually letting go. Sometimes we hold on to hurt and we cover it up with pride because that's what looks better. I'm confident. I don't care what they did to me. I don't care how they hurt me. Meanwhile, your heart is turning cold, but we put on this layer of pride. We put on this layer of, I'm good. Meanwhile, what's inside is truly broken. And so instead of putting on, we should be taking off. We should be removing the layers. It's not by putting on layers. Literally think about it on a literal scale, where the more layers you have, the more your core is covered up. Sometimes the layers look good. Sometimes the outer layer looks good. Sometimes your life can look good, but we think that because we're operating in a state of pride. We have got to learn to take off rather than putting on, because that is where true healing happens, where we're taking off layers and we're shedding layers and becoming a new person instead of putting on and covering the old person. Your body will always tell you when something is wrong or right. I don't think it's something that we should rely on 100%, but it is an indicator. If you are doing something that doesn't feel right, you have that inkling inside of you that tells you this is not right. Something is off. Listen to that. Don't always listen to the thoughts that you have. Not every thought that you have is real. Some of your thoughts are lies. And I think we need to understand that so that we can release them. You can let go. Not every fear you have is based on truth. Release it. And as you release it, step into faith, step into the unknown so that you can replace that lie with a bit of truth. And I think that's how our mind keeps us stagnant sometimes, because we don't replace it with that truth. We just sit in the lie and we never correct it. But having enough faith to just take that step forward, that blind step forward to replace the lie with truth. If you're afraid of trying something new, of switching up your career, take that blind step of faith and see what could happen. Replace that lie with truth. You've been thinking about this one thing for months and months and months and months and months, but the fear is keeping you stuck. Take a step in the direction of your goal and see what happens. See if it is a lie or not. Test it. Thank you so much for every single person that has made it this far in this video, that has clicked subscribe and is now a part of this family. I genuinely love every single one of you guys, and I'm so grateful for the love and support that you show me and the love that you show for yourself, the support that you give for yourself in wanting to improve. That genuinely means so much to me, and it means so much that we can do that together alongside each other. And so definitely comment your thoughts below, subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos, and like this video if you enjoyed it. Once again, thank you guys so much. I love you so much, and I will see you in another video. Peace and love, and bye for now.